1.2.2 Security Aspects. The word internet is basically derived from interconnection of computer networks, alternatively referred to as the net or the web. The internet was initially developed by the IPTO with the intention of helping to develop the progress of computing technology by linking the work being done by all the best academic computer centers. The internet as we know it today first started being developed in the late 1960s and transmitted its first message on Friday, October 29, 1969. In 1993, the internet experienced one of its largest growth to date and today is accessible by people everywhere in the world. The internet contains billions of web pages created by people and companies from around the world, making it a limitless location to locate information and entertainment. The internet also has thousands of services that help make life more convenient. For example, many financial institutions offer online banking that enables a user to manage and review their account details online. So, internet uses TCP/IP protocol and is accessed using a computer, modem, broadband, 3G or 4G networks through ISPs. The internet is explored, which is more commonly referred to as served, using a computer browser. Finding information on the internet is achieved by using search engines like Google. Users browse web pages by following hyperlinks. Hyperlinks are those blue words underlined. When you click, it leads you to other web pages and websites. Files, pictures, songs, videos can be shared by uploading and downloading or through YouTube. The internet is also used for communications like Zoom nowadays, instant messengers and emails and all. Now, connecting to the internet, we may require a computer, a telephone line, a broadband connection, a 3G or 4G connection, routers. Obviously, we need the ISP or service provider. Web browsers are also required like Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, or Opera. Security concerns for the internet usage. Since internet is used widely and has become a common platform to share the files between the computers in the world, the internet has made new ways to interact among the people and organizations. And with increase in the usage of internet, there are many threats in computer like trojans, spywares, virus, hacking, farming, phishing. These threats attack the computer, corrupt the files, and may even crash the system or leak your data or steal your data. So it is also very important to protect your computer from malicious attacks. So to avoid these threats and the hackers, in order to be safe on internet, we must follow some safety measures to prevent these threats to our computers. The internet confidentiality and privacy is over the internet is compromised most of the times. The internet provides little assurance of privacy and confidentiality. The use of firewalls and encryption can help mitigate these risks. Major considerations to keep in mind are surfing. When we surf the internet, it leaves our tracks. We cannot hide ourselves. There is a little privacy or confidentiality on the internet. Once the file is uploaded, it is uploaded. It cannot be returned. Websites can track your surfing on their site by IP addresses and related information, including system names and internet network addresses, and by the use of cookies. Search engines generally record your queries together with your computer identification. Building up a profile of your internet interest over the times, so that they could throw you ads related to your interest. To minimize these threats, you can turn on default browser settings to exclude cookies or delete cookies on your way out, since they can be used to build up details regarding your profiles of your surfing patterns over the time. Advertising sites with presence on many sites can even use cookies to track your surfing, like Facebook and Google. You can also use networked or single point anonymizers to obscure your entire computer's local identification information and obtain the maximum available internet privacy. I understand that even to keep yourself secure over the internet requires some sort of a technical knowledge which is quite complex, but without this knowledge, we cannot protect ourselves. So, as I said, that posting information over the internet is always public. When you post anything to a public network, like mailing list or chat rooms or Facebook or social media or YouTube, you generally give up the rights to the content and any expectation of privacy or confidentiality. In most of the countries, anything you post to a public space can be saved, archived, duplicated, distributed, and published even years later by anyone, in the same way as a photograph taken in public space like a city park. If you have ever posted anything to the Facebook, you might find it interesting to search them now for the email address you used at that time or your personal profile ID, which is one reason you should disguise your email address or profile ID when posting to the social media websites. Uh, your personal data can enlist all your activities. As in, if you give a site personal data like an email address, home address, phone number, your birth date, and credit card number, be aware that the information can be easily cross-referenced by a range of large service companies to assemble detailed database of your buying habits, surfing patterns, and interests. And it usually is. If you do give websites personal information, it is good idea to first read their internet privacy policy to see how confidentiality they promise to keep it. Simply, whenever you upload any information, you are no more secure about it. Sometimes when we visit websites, we do see HTTPS links. So HTTPS links are more secure, as HTTP links can be compromised. Your government bodies have the main control. Many national governments are large enough with enough resources that they can and do intercept internet communications. So whatever the data that we are passing on over the WhatsApp or the Facebook or the Google can also be intercepted by the governments, and governments are watching every move that we are making over the internet. The bottom line is that you have little privacy or confidentiality on the internet, and unless your communications are encrypted, you should assume that they can be read by others. At the same time, you need to make a realistic threat assessment depending on what you are doing. And there are internet risks associated with viruses, spyware, and hacking. It is convenient to have access to vast content on the internet, such as important information, useful services, and wonderful entertainment. But unfortunately, by accessing the internet, you leave yourself vulnerable to some troublemaker who are waiting for an opportunity to harm you and your computer. Yes, we are talking about computer viruses, spywares, adwares, hackers. Computer viruses are software programs designed to access your computer without your consent, interfere with the computer's operation, and records, corrupts, or deletes your personal data. Adware are software or spyware are software program designed for advertising and changing your computer's configuration. Spyware is software designed to collect personal information like what websites you visit or even discreetly transmits your personal information, such as your credit card number from your computer without your knowledge. Another threat over the internet is hackers. The term hacker is used to describe someone who attempts to break into computer system without the knowledge of the owner. Typically, this kind of hacker would be a proficient programmer or engineer with sufficient technical knowledge to understand the weak points in the security system. So, what damages can they cause? While viruses can be intentionally destructive, for example, by destroying data, many viruses are fairly benign or just plain annoying. Adware is mainly annoying, but spyware can be downright dangerous if it is managing to get hold of important information like your passwords or credit card information. Hackers can break into someone else's computer system, often on the network, bypasses passwords or licenses in computer program or in other ways intentionally breach computer security. You might have heard the issues nowadays with Zoom meeting software. Symptoms of virus outbreak. How do we actually find out that if there is any virus in our computer? The worst with viruses, adwares, spywares, and hackers are that they silently operate for a relative long period of time in your computer without being detected. Therefore, it's important to follow the preventive method described. I'm going to describe later those. The common symptoms of virus infections are that your computer works slower than normal. It stops responding and freezes often, crashes and restarts frequently, or fails to run normally. Other possible symptoms are that the application don't work properly and you can't print properly. The disk and disk drivers on your computer are inaccessible and you are often see unusual error messages or behavior of the computer. Sometimes your mouse starts moving on its own. The sign of spyware or adware infections are similar to the sign of computer virus infection, but in addition to those, you might get unwanted pop-up windows on your screen, even if you are not browsing in the internet. Your web browser startup page can be different than it should be, or you might notice an unwanted toolbar on your web browser. If you keep updating your antivirus, such things would not happen, but if you are lenient towards your security of the computer, that might happen. It can be difficult to detect a hacker on a computer because nothing changes to help disguise the hack. Most common things that change after a computer is hacked are like new programs get installed, computer passwords are changed, increased network activity, unknown programs are wanting access to internet, security programs are uninstalled or they are now no more working, computer doing things by itself. So what we do, antivirus is a way of protection against the internet risk. So even though the idea of having unwanted software running on your computer is scary, but following few easy steps, we can keep our computer free from viruses, adware, spyware, and other troublemakers. So in addition to firewall, you should install some kind of antivirus software before connecting your computer for the first time to the internet. Typical antivirus software scans for the new viruses entering your system, cleans up any viruses if they find, and make sure they cannot do any more harm. Just like firewall, your antivirus software should be turned on to so that when you start up your computer, the virus scanner is also started. This ensures that the virus are caught as soon as possible. Antivirus software will also check disks inserted into your computer, like USBs and additional hard disks, the emails that you receive, and the program that you download from the internet. If you receive a virus, your antivirus software will usually notify you, then will try to repair the file the virus has infected. It also isolates any files and put them in quarantine. Like nowadays, people are quarantined because of COVID-19. So, antivirus also isolates any file that cannot be repaired and tries to rescue the file it can. Some software ask you to send the virus to antivirus companies. So if the pattern of the virus is new to any antivirus and antivirus does not know how to get rid of it, they rather ask you to send this new pattern to their respective developer so that they could create an antivirus for that particular virus. If it is a new one to the company, then they will add this pattern to their database. An internet firewall is a computer program which can also be used. It can be a software or hardware designed to prevent unauthorized access to private computers or networks. A firewall can screen out viruses, worms, malwares, hackers, and try to access your computer over the internet. Installing a firewall is most effective and important first step you should do when you have your computer. Nowadays, many operating systems like Windows and Mac OS, they have their firewalls built in. You can purchase a firewall for your computer from a local computer store, or you can download it from internet. Many of the firewalls are nowadays also available for free. A firewall enforces a policy or set of rules governing the flow of data to and from the outside world. Firewalls that are used to protect home computers are usually based on packet filtering. That is, data packets are admitting or rejecting according to the policy that is there. Most of the firewalls have their policies already made by their manufacturers, and we don't have to change any of those policies. But in a typical environment like offices and big banks or any financial institutions where there are network administrators, they take care of the firewall policies according to the policies of the organization. Most firewall tools will come with a sensible set of rules by default. And then comes password protection. Passwords are very important in keeping your online information safe. It is very important that you should put a password which has a strength. A few of the criterias might be you must use at least 8 characters or use upper cases and lower cases and digits and special characters. Do not use your own name or your relative's name or any your number or something which can be easily guessed. And you have to then update all the software and especially the antivirus. As the viruses changes constantly, it is very important that you keep your computer's operating system, firewall software and antivirus always up to date. Sometimes the computer software which find the vulnerability in their development or source code, they also update their code. So it is necessary that every time a software updates its code, we should be updating it as soon as possible. Most viruses arrives on your computer via email. Do not open an email attachment that you have not expected or if you don't recognize the sender. Note that it is possible to get virus infected email from your friends as well or from your colleagues. It is possible that they might have the virus in their computer and that virus is sending in their disguise. So be very much careful. If you are receiving an email which you don't expect, you should not open any attachment to it. Then comes avoid downloading files of unknown network sources. So always download files or softwares from the sources that you know. Backup your data to avoid losing your work in case your computer gets infected by a virus. Make sure you have a recent backup of your all most important work, or keep your data over the cloud. Mostly the companies which are taking care of the clouds, they also take care of your data and any infection that may be caused to your data. Then comes encryption. Encryption is actually changing the data to a form which, if it is hacked, it cannot be understood. Encryption is called the translation of data into secret code. Encryption is the most effective way to achieve data security. To read an encrypted file, you must have access to secret key or password that would decrypt it. Unencrypted data is called plain text. Encrypted data is referred to as ciphertext. So then comes farming. When you visit a website, or you run a software, or you double click an icon and that takes you to another website, or opens up a pop-up that shows ads or a different website without your consent, it is said to be farming. Whereas in phishing, you might be deceived as someone known, and you are asked through the text messaging or email or WhatsApp to click a link or change your password, or reveal your password and username. So be very much careful that sometimes legit looking emails can also be deceiving ones to get your data hacked. So that's about it. This is internet security aspects. Do not expect big questions from this chapter, but yes, questions like what could be the security threats if you are surfing the internet, or how you can protect yourself from hacking, farming, or phishing might appear, and a few general knowledge questions from this chapter are expected, but not in quantity, just a one question of less marks. Anyways, thank you very much. Take care.